everyone. A brand new edition of Kick Ons, the perfect destination after the footy with credibility, glitz and glamour all rolled into two. Kane Corns, Josh Jenkins. Kano, we have been flying and loving it.
Yes, we have been, but I'm excited to get the control back of the footy trip fun today.
Thank you.
So I've been working really hard. We're not having much success, the three of us, so we are due. The responsibility is mine, and I'm going to make sure we make some cash today.
You will nail it. We put Carlton and Melbourne certainly under the pump, and they continued their woes last week.
Yes, well, we queried their kicking skills, and I think the numbers were ugly at the time, and I think they're ugly again. So we won't go down that rabbit hole again because we know that the issues are there for all to see.
And you loved your man Tex. He delivered as well.
My man Tex.
Joe Amos certainly went under the radar, and he delivered with 4.
Well, let's not look past Big Tex because one of us was sticking up for the great man, said he absolutely demanded a spot inside the forward 50. Might have kicked not 1, but 2, but 3, but 4 snags on the weekend.
He was playing against North Melbourne, and it is early in the season. I'm going to judge this for the entirety of the season, not against Toby Pink and the Kangaroos.
Shout out to the Pink family too if you're watching Kick-Ons. But no, 7 goals through 3 games for Tex. He's looking okay. Would have kicked a couple more, but was subbed out early in the season. So just at the moment, Team Tex, which is me, 1, old mate, 0.
Big topics. Let's get stuck into it. Let's start with the reigning premiers who are coming back from all sorts of halftime deficits.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible what they're doing. Never been done before. Now, I think these sort of stats have been recorded since 1999, so potentially it's been done before. But the past 7 games that they've trailed at halftime, they've won. And some of we're not talking 2 points, 5 points, 6 points. Look at these numbers. They've been trailing at halftime or in the second half of games by massive numbers, Kane. Look at we know about the finals, but even before that and this season, some of the margins they've had to come back from, some of the deficits, incredible.
They're in such good shape. They started the season, of course, slowly last year, and but this is, I thought, their third quarter against Geelong where they held them scoreless. Can't recall a time where Geelong have been held scoreless. Doesn't
Never
happen very often. There you go.
Never.
There you go, Richo. That's why you're the guru on this program.
Thank you.
But they just controlled the footy, plus 35 in uncontested marks, their ball movement, and we'll get to some of the numbers around how you can beat the Lions. I've come up with a theory on how you can beat them. We'll give that to you, but credit to them. They're in really good shape considering the interruptions that they've had at the start of the season and the shorter pre-season they had after winning it last year.
1,347 quarters Geelong have scored in before that.
Wow.
Amazing. There you go. Look at you.
Made that
is this Bruce or is this...
No, I didn't.
Haven't you been busy? I'll tell you what I love about them, what I call Brisbane now. So Essendon, I call them the our turn, your turn footy team.
Yeah.
Brisbane are the equal opportunity offence. So Joe Danaher goes out of this attack. Now they've got 5 or 6 or 7 guys who all can stand up and get the job done. So Cameron and Rayner and Bailey and these guys, Archie's done it already this season, equal opportunity attack.
Talk to me about that market. That's not going to happen this week.
Well, I mean, that's what...
Tigers aren't going to be in front at halftime.
Famous last words. The way you've been betting for us here on Kick Ons, they probably will be.
But you think they'll start slowly again and come back again?
Look, I think that's more likely.
There's the bet.
Yeah.
100 plus.
Well, they did it last year. They beat them by 119 from memory. That was at the Gabba, but at the MCG, space everywhere. I think Richmond will give their best effort at home in front of their home fans, but I tell you what, that's on the table.
So how do you beat the Lions? There's one stat that I'd be looking at, and it's restricting their uncontested marks. We've made a call to Champion Data just around what happens when they have 100 plus uncontested marks. 96% of the time they win. They had 145 in the grand final against Sydney. Restrict them to 80 or less and you've got a 50-50 chance essentially of beating them. So shut their ball movement down, get right up and shut those options down. Don't be lazy in your team defence, and you've got to take the footy out of their hands, force them to kick the contest. That's how you beat them.
Some homework for you. What about other teams? If we did every other team and they had 100 plus uncontested marks?
Well, I think they're so reliant on their ball movement game, whereas other teams have other strengths. It might be their stoppage game, locking the ball in the forward half, or their forward half turnovers, and that would be a measure of success. But you've got to restrict the possession that the Lions have because they'll just slosh you up.
Changing of the guard in regards to Ruckman, you put this on the radar.
Yeah, I think this is where it's at. They're on the decline, the big rucks, and I think there's some ageing rucks in the game. Unless you can get the ball yourself and you play as an extra midfielder like a Tom De Koning. But Max is 33, he's turning 34 in December, and this is his drop-off. Now, largely it's around Melbourne just destroying this guy because they've forced him to play so many minutes and so much time in the ruck. And this season has been a different one for the 6-time All-Australian, Max Gawn. This is him, not at his absolute best, is it? So we'll see if there's a response. But, Cherry got him last week, Witt's got him this week. You think he'd have a bit more success against Geelong because they don't have a dedicated ruckman, but certainly it's a watch on one of the most dominant players we've had in the game for a long time.
Yeah, he's a bit of a concern, like most guys at Melbourne, but you just think psychologically he's as worn out in terms of more so than even physically. I mean, turning 34, physically he might be starting to slow down. But upstairs, he's carried a massive burden, so some concerns around the big fella.
And you've got another ruckman on notice.
Yeah, the rucks are a theme today. So Tim English is an All-Australian ruckman, but I can't remember the last time he played well. Tim, I can't remember
the last time he played
cannot
well.
remember the last time he influenced the game of football positively. So he's the lowest rated ruckman this season. And we got some just average ruckmen running around. Yep. That's just the nature of the game. And he's the lowest rated of them all. Now, the Western Bulldogs have started pretty well, but unless him and Aaron Norton get firing, there's no way this Western Bulldogs team will play finals. And these are the clips that I'm talking about. The De Koning just monstered him. So what's that? Like, actually jump in the centre bounce, assert some physical dominance, and then De Koning just runs all over him and plays as an extra midfielder. So whilst the Dogs have started well, I still think there's some significant concerns, and largely it revolves around Tim, who's on notice, and Aaron Norton could easily be on notice as well.
I thought Aaron Norton might cop one on the way through. English is interesting because he's not that far removed from being the All-Australian ruckman. But
it feels a lifetime ago, though.
It does feel a long time ago, but he's a ruckman who I feel for him in a sense because he's never been a combative ruckman. He's always been a ruckman who's athletic, wants to get around.
Nice ruckman. He's a nice ruckman.
But he was a nice ruckman that made All-Australian. So I understand why it could quickly drop off for him, because if he can't get that minimum standard in terms of the combative stuff, that's when his game starts to fall away. He's had the concussion issues. I wonder if that's just dented his confidence somewhat, because he lowest rated ruckman in the game. He's not paid that way. So
Did we just get a modern version of him with De Koning?
Well, yeah,
perfect comparison.
And a bigger version. Yeah, he's a more aggressive. So they play Fremantle. Luke Jackson is also like a nice-ish ruckman. He's not a physical ruckman, but can get around and move. So it's a good test for him.
In your ruck rankings, did you have Patrick Cripps in there? Is he?
No, well,
we should get you to do a ruck power rank.
I should do that. Don't get me started on Cripps in the ruck. Thank goodness he wasn't there last Friday night.
What about the Crows' powerhouse forwards? You've mentioned it right off the top, and your man Texans right amongst them.
Well, they're playing a really interesting forward line. They've got 3.5, 4 talls. Daniel Curtin's played. I thought he was the one who might sort of fall out of the mix, but he looks really good. He's quite versatile. Josh Rochelle won't be there for a little while, so that's going to be interesting because he's a small, pressure, hard-running guy. But these guys, these talls, look at the possession, the retainment of the footy. Fogarty and Walker, when they kick it in their direction, unbelievable. They tell me Riley Thilthorpe has been the highest rated forward in the game.
Amazing.
But the retainment possession in terms of the percentage when they kick it to him is not great, but he is a really talented and dominant big man.
I wonder if it's sustainable. That's the only thing. So they haven't played...
The 3 talls?
Yes, and 3.5 or 4 talls. They haven't really played anyone yet. So it's been St Kilda, it's been Essendon, it's been North Melbourne, and they do lack size in defence. So what a game this is going to be on Saturday between Gold Coast. There's Taylor Walker's market, 2+ for 225, 3+ for 540, but he's going to get a more challenging opponent than what he's had in the first 3 weeks.
I don't know if he will. I think he might end up with a Bodie Ewell, who's my man.
He's a good player, though.
But he gives up a lot of size to Walker.
He's a good athletic player.
See, I can't lose in this matchup because Ewell's my man and Tex is my man, so I can't lose.
Up against Gold Coast, which are going to win the whole comp. Well, according to you,
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, that's what you said.
No.
They can win the premiership.
I said they can win it. I didn't say they're going to win it.
I don't know what you're smoking,
so don't put words in my mouth, Richo. Do not do that.
You said
they are good enough to. They should be aiming to be at that level. That's what I'm suggesting. Like, why can't they? Give me a reason why Gold Coast can't win it.
Because they're not experienced enough.
Well,
there's one reason.
You would have said that about Hawthorn in 2008 or the Baby Bombers in 1993. Like, young teams sometimes...
2008... 1993, I had an afro when you're talking.
Some teams bounce quicker than what you think, and I just wouldn't be putting any limits on this.
Who are we tipping head-to-head in this game?
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast at home?
Gold Coast, because they're going to win the
Well,
premiership.
their midfield has more weapons than what Adelaide's midfield has.
No, I'm a believer. What about North and Harry Sheezel? He's on the one of the big topics.
Yeah, this is interesting. I was watching the game closely last week, and even throughout the season, he's been playing ahead of the footy a little bit. Now I thought, okay, they're going to use him in a Brian Myers type role, so he's going to come and start as a forward, but he's going to be a fifth midfielder effectively. So he's played 32% of his season as a forward. That's too much for mine. He's ahead of the footy too much, but he did go to the defensive 50 in the last quarter
and couldn't get near it.
Well, but it showed what the template should be going forward. He had about 12, 13 possessions against Adelaide in that last quarter. I think they need him in the back half because they need a little bit of stability and composure.
I want him kicking the ball inside forward 50, so we disagree a little bit. I like him more midfield forward. If that means he gets 21 disposals instead of 35, I'd rather that because they'll be more damaging and will lead to scores.
So mid or forward?
Well, mid, but
Not
You don't mind the 59-32?
a mid forward, like the best players, like Petrarca plays, like Heaney plays, like Warner plays. Midfield, getting your touches forward of centre.
And his role will change a touch if gorgeous Georgie Wardlaw comes back in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. They need him. They need a bit more grunt and a bit more speed in the midfield. They were disappointing for me, North Melbourne. I thought they'd move past performances like that against Adelaide.
This week.
good side Adelaide, I reckon. But yeah, agree. They just still some self-inflicted wounds. We saw it in round one against the Dogs. They do some good stuff. They look potent. They look talented, and you think, here we go. We're gonna get a scalp, and then they'll kick it. They'll turn it over in the back half. So some self-inflicted wounds. I like Sheezel in the back half. I like him for 30 plus, as long as James Jordan doesn't head his way.
I like this as a tag, and as soon as I saw it, I knew you must have put it. The rise of the big kahuna.
Yes, Josh Tracy. Now, I need to get around him. The big kahuna is where he's from, but I tell you what, he is a big kahuna.
Oof.
He has improved so much. I feel quite bad because I wrote him off early in his career. I just thought I didn't see the competitiveness. I didn't see the athlete that I see now. Now this is Jai Amos stepping up to the plate. We asked him for more and he did the job. 7 goals between the two.
Yeah.
Jai Amos hardly ever misses. They used to call him Nev, never miss.
Right.
And they took the nickname away from him, but he can get it back after the weekend. These two as a combo could potentially be one of the best key forward duos in the competition and should give Freo confidence to get it in there fast.
Yeah, so that they should be aiming to be the Thilthorpe and Fogarty. They're going to be, I think, the best two combination for me for a while now, but these two are in that company. So I will do my ruck power rankings next week if JJ does his key forward power rankings, because I'm interested to see where Josh Tracy ranks. So is he the number one? Is he the number one key forward in football right now?
No, well, he's number 3 according to the data.
That's the champion ratings.
I'd
rather your ratings.
I think he's arguably the most all-round key forward, the most effective all-around key forward in the game. Jesse Hogan's right there.
Nick Larkey's in the mix.
I don't see Nick Larkey make others better as much as Josh Tracy does. Tracy's a great field kick.
Should I grab that $13?
Well, I've had something on him for the Sportsbet feed, so you'd be mad not to copy, wouldn't you?
You'd be mad not to.
Absolutely.
Who's the favourite in that market off the top of your head?
Might be Ben King. He's got 10 goals through 2 games. He's leading the Coleman. He's got a game up his sleeve.
I still think I'd take Sam Darcy as the number 1 key forward in football.
He rose that
W.
boat hard.
Carey. You've been copied too, I hear. Don't forget to follow us on the feed there as well. We need to put the shot clock up. Do you see the way I flicked on my beautiful iPad there? The shot clock is up and we want some topics in 30 seconds. Kano, Vossi or Goody?
Just let me turn over my paper. I probably would take Vossi. I think Melbourne are in trouble just with their game style. I think there's more positives out of what Carlton are doing. I can't find any at Melbourne.
I want the man who's got the better payout clause. Because I think...
You think they're both in trouble?
I think both will need it.
Oh.
I think both are in massive trouble. We put it up. We put it on the agenda a few weeks ago. Clubs that don't make the finals, the coaches are in massive trouble. And are you going to tell me one of those two teams is going to make the finals?
Would Simon Goodwin get another job?
Maybe not straight away, but yes. Yeah, maybe not straight away.
Yeah, definitely within one of the organisations eventually.
Straight away?
Not necessarily straight away, but course he would. They're hard to find, premiership coaches. Can Oscar Allen still be captain after the recent week?
Yes, he can. My sources tell me that he's upset with the way that he's been treated by West Coast, and then he was very keen to stay at West Coast. There was a contract offer on the table for him. He then got injured, and that contract was rescinded. And then that got its way back to Hawthorn, and Hawthorn said, I smell a rat here. We're just all in and trying to expose the vulnerabilities of the West Coast Eagles, who to me are a mess at the moment.
Whenever there are sources involved, I'm not going to try and get my 15 seconds. I think those who are saying you should be stripped of the captaincy are showing how out of touch they are with modern day footballers.
So what about the Hawks in Tassie? If the Devils come in, if they get their stadium stuff organised, Hawks will still play games there?
I hope so.
They should.
Yeah, I think they should. It's been great for them. It's been a terrific partnership. They play well down there. I think it's been good for the state and good for the club.
I think Tassie would want to push them out though, wouldn't they? They want the whole state to get behind the
Devils
new club.
would be like, get out.
Sayonara.
I would have thought so.
Are we going to see the Devils?
Yeah, it feels
they need to get a roof on.
A million miles away, that club, doesn't it?
Seems to be in all sorts of trouble, which is so disappointing. As someone who's born in beautiful Tassie. Will Drew is on the agenda.
It all makes sense.
And that's a good
when I was
question.
4 weeks old.
That's a good question. If he's not tagging, why is he in the team? So you watch him Thursday night, and Zach Merritt is one of the hottest midfielders in football. He's kicked 6 goals going into the game, so he's getting really damaging touches forward to centre. And Willem Drew's just sitting there scratching his head, getting 6 kicks for the game.
I started to feel silly. I kept saying, why is Willem Drew not on Zach Merritt? Why? I don't understand why you wouldn't go. And Zach Merritt probably didn't even have his most damaging night, but he was still probably the difference in the game. I was baffled.
And if you ask the question, do we know why?
Well, they would think that they have midfielders that they want to get that game time over him. So Horn Francis, they wanted to get going. They've got Rosie, they've got Wines, they've got others.
Rosie was doing nothing.
Yeah, nothing. So I don't understand it. Now they play St Kilda, so I'm not sure there's a direct matchup for Willem Drew this week, but it's unusual.
That's 0 the time.
Sorry.
Would you like to put on that famous South Australian Guernsey and you, the big V, pre-season State of Origin?
No, I think South Australia would get embarrassed if State of Origin football came. South Australia would lose to Victoria by 20 goals, and no one wants to see that. So that's a no.
Well, we'd like to see that, the Victorians. Your man Bevo, I thought, put on the agenda really quite smartly. The best of it. It is a bit tribal now. You've got the 2 teams from South Australia and from Perth. That's kind of that's taken away from what it is to see the state versus state. So I don't think I was a fan of it, but after hearing your man Bevo talk about it, don't need it.
Pre-season as well is going to be a big query, isn't it, for people getting injured leading into a season. Hey, you're watching Kick Ons. Hope you're enjoying the show. A quick break and we'll have a look at Friday Night Footy. Welcome back to Kick Ons. Hope you're enjoying the show. Friday Night Footy. Jeremy Cameron comes straight under the microscope.
Yes, he's under the grill, shall we say. He's got a great record against basically every club in the AFL except for 2. One's Geelong. Now, that's not going to be a concern because he plays for them.
Yep.
The second team is Melbourne. So only 22 goals in 14 games against Melbourne. So Harrison Petty's done a pretty good job on him in the past, particularly in a couple of finals. He didn't do much last week, and he did almost less the week previous.
Why is he bobbing up there?
Thank you. He needs to be there, parked inside forward 50. If the Cats want to win this game and bigger games moving forward, he needs to be targeted inside forward 50 a lot more. He needs to be doing that, coming up at the footy and creating in the front half of the ground.
But he also used to take a big clunk. I haven't seen him down forward taking a big
pack.
Not a big
mark,
pack
but he can run back with the fly to the ball and take a mark like that. But he's got to get on the lead. He's got to be deeper, and he's got to be the man. Like, don't give me this Shannon Neal business. That needs to be a minimum, you'd think, for the Cats, who I'm starting to get slightly concerned about, just with the performance of their key star players who are down on form. I'm looking at Myers. I'm looking at Cameron. Tough on Dangerfield because he's been doing it for so long and playing a different role, but they need to get their best players back in form, and it starts with him.
Don't give me the Shannon Neil
nonsense.
A shout out to the Neil family. We're big fans of the show. Clayton Oliver's also under the spotlight.
Well, he's fine at getting the footy, but it's a watch on other teams exposing him, just in terms of putting a body on him and then getting off him at the right time. He can't run, and he's the 52nd ranked midfielder in the game right now.
He can't run to the extent that
he
Matty
can't
Rowell.
cover the ground like the most powerful midfielders in football. And I think if you want to be successful now, look at Hawthorn, look at Gold Coast. They can all run, and it's been a real focus. So his inability to get from contest to contest is a watch.
Yeah, one of the things that they track a lot with the GPS is the speed of
speed.
Plus 23 kilometres an hour.
Yeah.
That was one thing we used to look at a lot. How much did you run at plus 23 kilometres an hour? It's not a sprint, but it's hard running. I don't reckon Clayton's would be high.
But I think that's overs for Melbourne. I think they're capable of winning this game in terms of the way that Geelong are going, and certainly the line is where I'd be looking as well. 28.5 points. I'm not sure
it's a big head start.
Melbourne get beaten by that
true.
much.
I think they bounce back, the
If
Cats.
there's no response from Melbourne, it is alarm bells.
But there can be a response, but I think Geelong are just better.
Yeah,
28.5 points better?
Yeah, I think they are.
Okay.
Well, that's what we're
Ooh.
about to find out. I'm giving you because I've got it as our bet in our team multi, if you don't mind. Kane.
Yeah.
What have you got?
He makes it too easy for me sometimes, this guy. I know he's everywhere. It's hard to find him and track him down on Sports Day these days because he's barely on it. But
Right.
he likes to do a list.
Yes.
Kane's Countdown. How good. What a great title. Predictable media takes. Now, if we zoom in on point number 10, blank team, so Team X should look at Jamara,
This is what
Ugle,
Kane
Hagen.
predicted
This is
that
the most
media would do.
predictable media take. And now if we just fast forward 24 hours, maybe less than, Kane Corns, the rival Victorian club that is the number one fit for Jamara Ugle Hagen.
See, this is why you've got to wake up earlier.
Wowee.
That was the lead-in to the list.
Wowee.
I said Jamara Ugle-Hagen should be targeted by St Kilda, and that is a predictable media take, and that leads me in to the list. And I won't be the only one to link Jamara to a club.
Oh, no.
So listen to the program. Don't just cherry-pick headlines and come with your calm rubbish.
Don't say our.
It was the whole topic of the list.
I told you you shouldn't have let him see it.
Corns 1, Jenkins 0.
Well, he got the walk. I'll give him Taylor Walker. I'll take that one. So we'll go one apiece today.
I hope you're enjoying the show. Kick Ons. We'll have a quick look at some multis on the other side. The papers will land on a Monday, and the headline, Josh, will be?
Kanga, roo. I think the Kangas, they've been a little inconsistent, but back under the roof in their home ground at Docklands, I think they'll take care of this morning.
Interesting. Here comes the sun. The Gold Coast Suns are rising. Match of the round, I think it is on Saturday.
you're all in.
Who would have thought? I think they get it done. Richo?
Cricket scores. Brisbane will maul the Tigers. GWS will pluck the Eagles. 100 points plus for both of them.
Wow.
Cricket scores. That's what it's going to be. Now, our footy trip fund at the moment's had a little glitch. At the moment, we're going to Chadstone Shopping Centre for our footy trip, which is
We're not buying anything.
disappointing. So it's over to you, Skipper.
Yeah, so look, we're just going to get on the board.
Thank you.
We just need some runs on the board. Look, not a huge amount of value, but Gold Coast to win by a goal or
Pick
more.
the hardest game of the round.
No, to win by a goal or more. They, at home,
I like it.
At home, are in ripping form. I think their midfield's too strong. So let's get on the board, shall we?
Yeah, we'll bank the $90
Yes,
profit,
exactly.
and then we'll move on, and off you'll go. Weekend multi, what are we going to do, team?
Yeah, looking forward to this. I'm happy to be with Brisbane to win by plenty.
And I'm going to go with that footy trip one as well. So we're doubling up on that one, Richo.
And I'm disagreeing with you, and I'm scared about it because you've got credibility, I've got none. And that is Geelong at the line. So we multi it all up at $6.85. Please follow us on all our social medias. Hey, boys, great show.
Have a great
good
weekend.
See you soon, everyone. Thank you for watching the Mighty Kick Ons.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.